The spirit of the Ultimate Warrior will run forever. Those were the words that were said last night on Monday Night Raw. This is the Rope Break podcast. I am by myself. Eric is not with me tonight. It's late. It's 12:36 a.m. and I just caught wind of the news that the Ultimate Warrior has passed. And I thought it would be appropriate to make a short podcast about what the Ultimate Warrior meant to me as a fan of professional wrestling. Me and Eric will talk much more about this later this week, actually, as we have discussed a new form that we will be bringing to the Rope Break instead of our old form, but that's not what this podcast is about. To me, this is absolutely surreal. The Warrior was just on Raw last night, 26 hours ago. The man was in the middle of the ring, getting to give his, in a sense, goodbye speech to the fans. It's been a long time for the Warrior to be on good terms with the WWE, to be on good terms with Vince McMahon. There was a lot of animosity and hatred between the two, not just them. I mean, there was a lot of people that were not fans of the Warrior, and it took a long time for everyone to get on the same page and for the Warrior to be accepted back into the family of World Wrestling Entertainment, and to get on to do promotion for the WWE 14 video game, merchandising, all of that, and the Hall of Fame as well. And to be able to get to be at the Hall of Fame just Saturday and be the featured Hall of Fame inductee with an amazing cast of other men and women that had a big part in professional wrestling's history. Warrior is one that has had a huge amount of history for professional wrestling. It really doesn't even matter what your opinion is of him personally. It doesn't matter what my opinion is of him personally. And personally, I'm not going to lie and say I'm the biggest Ultimate Warrior fan. Growing up, I was a big Warrior fan. Personally, seeing what his beliefs and everything, I did not and do not agree with those. Like I said, that doesn't even matter. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of just talk about Warrior for a couple minutes. This will not be a long podcast, but I just felt it was kind of necessary to just give my opinions on the person that he was in professional wrestling, because like it happens time and time again as we get older. Now, me being 30 and being a professional wrestling fan since I was in middle school, you see different kinds of sides of people. You see the performer that they were versus the person that they were, and I try at my hardest to be able to separate the two. So what the Ultimate Warrior was to me as a professional wrestling fan was iconic. In one word, that's the best way to describe him, is he was iconic. I mean, growing up, you were either a Hulkamaniac or you were a Warrior. I was a Hulkamaniac personally, but like most people were. But what the Warrior did was absolutely amazing. At a time in like the 80s and the early 90s when characters were really big, it wasn't necessarily just someone's name. It was like this character, and the Ultimate Warrior's character was just larger than life. It really was, with the face paint and the hair, and the tassels, and just his energy and his excitement. I mean, he went out there to perform every single time. Whatever you want to say about the man, he went out there to perform every single time for the fans. Yeah, I mean, he had a big ego, but I mean, you kind of have to at that time, especially when you're going in there in the ring with other guys like Hulk Hogan. Because let's not say that Hulk Hogan doesn't have an ego. I mean, the people at that time all had egos, but just Ultimate Warrior just that excitement. It was excitement and energy that you really will never see again from someone. He is in a class all by his own. His matches were fun and entertaining. I mean, he wasn't the greatest professional wrestler of all time, but he was entertaining. That was all he really had to do at that time, was entertain. And he had so many fans. So many people grew up idolizing the Ultimate Warrior. And you can see it in today's professional wrestling. There's certain people that just have excitement, and they do things that you can't help but think that they got that from Warrior a little bit. Obviously probably the biggest moment in Warrior's career was at WrestleMania 6 versus Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Challenge. It's a kind of match that I've probably seen countless times. I mean, it's especially this time of the year for WrestleMania time. I try to go back and I try to watch my favorite matches, and that to me was one of my favorite matches, simply because of the moment that it was. It was the passing of a torch, so to speak, and that torch didn't last very long. We all know that. Whether that happened is not important, really, but just the match itself was amazing to see. These two larger-than-life characters with Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan clashing, with the Ultimate Warrior as the Intercontinental Champion, Hulk Hogan as the World Champion, at WrestleMania, in the main event, biggest match of the night, of the year, and just seeing both men with just larger-than-life characters, larger-than-life physiques. Just the strength in that match was just amazing, and you really didn't know who was going to win. That was the cool thing about that time of professional wrestling as well, is a lot of times we can kind of predict what's going on. At that time, it was a little bit harder. And you usually thought Hulk Hogan would win, because Hulk Hogan was just that kind of guy, that he would always beat the odds and win. But on this night, he didn't. He didn't win. Ultimate Warrior won. And then in the middle of the ring, Ultimate Warrior and Hogan shared a kind of moment that Hogan was passing the torch, so to speak, to Warrior. And it was, for professional wrestling history, it was a great moment. One moment that I won't ever forget. Like I said, it's one of those kinds of matches that I will watch countless times. I have, and I will in the future. Maybe it'll be even more special now, knowing that one of the two has passed. And it's with a heavy heart, honestly, knowing that the Ultimate Warrior has passed. And like I said, no matter what your opinion is of the guy, what he's done for professional wrestling, for the fans, and his career, it was in the ring. He is one of those iconic characters that you won't forget and you will always remember. And his interviews made no sense. They never made sense. There was snippets that you could tell, okay, I know what he's kind of talking about, I know where he's going, but you didn't know what the heck was going to come out of his mouth ever. He was one of a kind, and he definitely will be missed, especially in the professional wrestling. For fans, he will be missed, knowing that he's gone, and it's just so bittersweet, because he was finally embraced. I mean, he mentioned a lot about the DVD that came out years and years ago, where it basically was it to me was the worst showing of the WWE in a DVD format. I was always negative about them doing the old WCW. The Monday Night Wars DVD, because it was just shaming on WCW completely, and I'll never deny it. I'm a WCW mark, and I always will be. But I think it was called The Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior. I think it was absolutely horribly done, and it was in bad taste, and there was current wrestlers talking negatively about the Ultimate Warrior, and I think finally they got to a point where they probably regretted making that DVD, and they wanted to be on good terms with someone that did have so much history to do with the company in the past. and it's a shame that they finally got on page with each other. He got to have his Hall of Fame speech, which, like I just said, not all of it made sense, but you knew where his mind was, so to speak, giving that speech, and then getting to be on Raw and transforming from Warrior, because he legally changed his name to Warrior, to the Ultimate Warrior, putting on that mask and getting to talk to the fans one last time. And that's weird to think that really was one last time, because you won't get to hear him ever again. He will be missed more than I'll be honest, more than I thought. It's weird because you don't necessarily understand what it means for someone to pass until they do pass, and then you kind of take a step back and you realize just how influential they were in their craft at times, especially for professional wrestlers, where, I mean, people that came in from the 80s or 70s, there's not many left, guys. I mean, there's not many left. It's through drugs and alcohol and suicide. And God, I just hope this isn't suicide. I really do, because I think the business has made me a little bit jaded in a way, and cynical, where suicides, it happens in this business. And to think that he had his Hall of Fame speech and then was on Raw, in his mind, if God, I really don't want to think this. But if it is, this was his way of leaving the business and then leaving the world. I hope that's not true. I really do. It's just crazy to think that he was here last night and now he's gone. So I think that's going to end it. I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about my thoughts about the Warrior and what he meant to me growing up as a wrestling fan. Me and Eric will talk more about this moving on later this week when we return to our normal weekly podcast. That's going to be a little bit more fun, a little bit more different. But yeah, rest in peace, Warrior. You're already missed.